Hey everybody, welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast, Season 4, Episode
4.
Okay, we're back, and I'm MDB.
Don't get too excited, Ed.
Today's show, Charles, MDB, and we got to give out a shout out to our OG sponsors.
All right, here, Charles, Pioneer Car
Audio.
Yep.
And Go Kart USA, GoPowersports.com, and Studs Powersports for their support.
Love their sponsors. Charles, why are you here tonight?
I'm back with by popular demand, I guess.
You sure are.
And so I'm supposed to answer as many questions that they can throw at me or
You
whatever.
don't mind, right? We'll take them all.
I don't mind.
Good or bad?
You know? So whatever they got to say.
They can respond,
you know,
if they hate you.
Yeah, love me or hate me, you know.
Oh, tell them we have a poll. We have a poll, and it's up till, what do we got? 8 o'clock California time, PST.
Yeah, we got like
about another 15 minutes. Love them or hate them. We were looking at the poll. It was 92%. They love you. And we're going to take calls, and we're going to talk about, you brought some products. I see you always bring the hardware. You always bring the good stuff.
Yeah, well, I happen to have these already in the truck, so
those are those modified Belmit first gen heads. You're going to talk a little bit about those a little bit later on in the podcast. If you have questions that are technical related, don't get too deep. Like, we're not going to rebuild your engine on the show, right? But we'll give them a little bit of tip and trick. Evelette, how you doing, brother?
All right.
You doing all right? You had a long day in the car a couple days ago, or
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, try to drive down to Irvine and pick up some stuff for work, and then drive back. 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
For those folks who may not be local, Ed, how far is Irvine?
About 60 miles.
So a round trip of 120 miles took you, what, 5 hours?
4 hours.
4 hours. That's California.
Yep, that's
I tell
the
guys
freeways.
this all the
They're
time.
backed
I
up.
talk to guys out of state, and they'll be like, oh, I have to go over to the shop or in L.A., and I normally call somebody on the phone and talk because I might fall asleep at the wheel. I don't know if you ever, you know.
Yes, you have a little bit of automotive narcolepsy, don't you?
Yeah, like when you driving over an hour, I kind of be getting like tired. Like, oh man.
I don't think that's a disease. I think that's normal, especially with the heat out here, you know, and you got some good music on.
And they'd be like, oh, 60 miles, that's nothing. In California, 60 miles?
On the freeway?
That's a lot.
Well, I bounce around a little bit too. You went to Irvine. I rolled out early. Actually, it did better than I thought. I took the 210 all the way out to the 15, like you're going out to Las Vegas, and stopped in Hesperia and saw Frank over at F&B. And picked up the Ruttman, which was formerly the Pioneer bike that those of you who are watching and may be fans of the podcast or the reunion, we've had this Ruttman bounce around, and it's finally back where I think it should be, which is to bring it back to vintage. We were picking up some engines. We're looking at all the new F&B pipes. He had some cool bikes out there. And there was one long drag bike, Charles, that had an engine that looked pretty similar to that sick engine that you put together for Fredo that Jake Moe assembled. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the podcast as well. I want to talk to you a little bit about that bike because, you know, Ed and I were out there at AV, and we got a chance to see that bike, almost the unveil. Yeah. But Fredo didn't want to talk about the motor too much. He wanted to keep all those little juicy details to himself. Maybe you can share a couple secrets on that engine build.
I don't know if he want me to talk about it. Because see, what it is it's a local competition type thing. You have the AV guys versus the Los Angeles, the LA drag guys. So the AV drag
is that happening?
Versus they always had a feud. And then they're going to have a GT's tournament.
Yeah, Rafa was going to do something, a little GT love up there.
In May. I don't know exactly when in May.
Ed, you're actually representing a little Rafa there, huh?
I got GT hobby shirt on.
It's going to actually be in the AV. Right?
Oh, nice. So how cool is that? First of all, it's a great destination. When was the last time you were at AV?
It's been a while.
All right, so you got to get your ass back up there. Really have to get up there. But look, so these are the types of things we're going to get into. You got questions, you got comments, bring them on. We've got some autographed CRC brake clean cans signed by yours truly, MDB and Evil Ed. We've got a JMBR hat. We'll script that one and send it out to you too. For those of you who had a chance recently to win some of the prizes, congratulations. We'll be looking at the comments and whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, as well as checking the poll throughout the podcast. You've got about another 10 minutes for the poll, but the love and hate part and all the juicy details about you, Charles, is why you're here. It ain't easy being at the top. And you've got a national game, and you bring it, and some folks love it, and some folks have a little bit of a question. I've always found the guys that have a problem with MDB to be entertaining, and I mean that loosely. Usually they have some bullshit story about something that somebody said that you touched at one point 20 years ago, and they want you to fix it when it blows up. Pretty much it always boils up to that, right?
Yeah.
So let's bring on the questions. Let's bring on the comments. I was happy with my trip out to AV. I got a chance to ride the bike that you were a part of.
Yeah.
When we built the little 16 horsepower Predator. We finally put that in a Temecula Bob long frame. And as I told you, I had a great time riding it. I think I ought to count my blessings because it goes faster than I'm used to. And
I figured it did.
It did. And I hadn't been on a bike that fast ever.
Yeah.
That small.
Yeah.
You know? So I think Evil Ed and I are at a place now, Ed, where we're going to be pretty happy just cruising. He's got his is it a 3-horse Briggs?
Yeah.
And I've got now my Ruttman back. So I stuck a little 4 horsepower in there.
Yeah.
So me and Ed will be bringing up the back next time we ride. But if you guys are going to run out there, if AV is going to run SoCal and Rafa's coming up there and they're going to do their thing, that could be worth checking out. There's a reason right there for you to be up there.
Good. I'm actually going to be in it. I'm only going to be in it. Oh, I was covering up the mic. But I'm going to be in it because whoever wins, it's like $1,000 to whoever wins.
Who's putting it up, Raf?
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm going to have to be in it. You know what I'm saying? I can't pass that up.
Well, look, not only is that good money, but it's good time. Just being out there.
They had some rules or something to it, but I think my challenge engine fits in the rules. So
small block, big block?
Small block.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if they allowing billy heads or whatever. I don't know. But my challenge engine got a cast head, so it doesn't matter.
Whatever it's going to be, Rafa's done this before. He'll put it on his site. He'll post all the rules. They run these races religiously every friggin' weekend, so it's not like he hasn't done that. Charles, why don't you reach out to him? Let him know that we're giving him some love. We have him on the show prior to him doing his event.
Well, I was just there. He's building me a frame.
Great.
He's building me a new frame.
So let's have him on the podcast. That's what I mean. Let's get him on there. We get all the details about that leading up to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I could talk to him.
Speaking of events, Ed, I want to thank Karen Kraus. Karen, a good friend of the podcast and a good friend of yours, and I got a chance to meet her through you. She put together that really cool seat on the Barris bike that we're working on.
A couple seats for me.
So she had commented, because we do read the comments. That's why we appreciate you sending them in. All of you guys who sent in comments about the fact that the video was a problem and there was some technical hiccups. Right. That's how it works. We can't do much about it. E's back there. We started it back up again. We're good, Linda? Good. Yes. Linda gives me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And today I think I was going to get one of these. I want to thank you, Linda, for everything you did. And all you do. I told you I was going to build you up. In fact, look at it. I put it right up in the top. Just nod your head up and down like you see your name there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She went shopping, bought all this stuff for us. She's sweating her ass off carrying down the root beer. Fuck, just the root beer alone for this guy. He's 500 pounds. She made 3 trips down there. So Samantha, is that a familiar name to you?
Yes.
I got to tell you, you got a hell of a gal there. I received a message from a Samantha. In fact, notice, happy birthday. It's Charles' 41st birthday. On or about today. Happy birthday, Charles.
When is it?
It's a Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 41 years. Look at you.
Yeah.
Looking strong.
41, yeah.
She reached out and asked if she could make arrangements to send a couple goodies to celebrate your birthday. And she had delivered, check this out, a beautiful birthday cake, which we'll have at the break, your favorite ice cream, and a big tub of root beer.
Oh, yeah, that's it right there.
And she also put together, in fact, you don't know how long it's take you to get that, if you're able to get that video. But if you do have that, and if we can strike up some romantic music.
I might have to watch that video on my own.
Oh, no. You did have and I looked at it, because I serve as your agent as well, right? So I have to make sure that it's going to fit your image. So you'll I think those of you let me know if you have a chance to cue that up. She sent a beautiful montage, right, Ed? French? Montage. You know, that's French for way the fuck up there, montage. Oh, no, that's loge. People say, where's the loge? It's like, oh, that's French for way the fuck up there. If you were at the forum, where's the loge? Yeah, she put together a nice little video, and it kind of brought a little tear to my eye, because many of the vignette photos were with me and you and at the Minibike show, and it's actually now, I think we're playing it now. So for those of you who think that Charles is some big, rough, tough, angry, loud, no, he's a soft, warm-hearted, gentle giant is how I like to think of him, who will kick your ass if given the opportunity and builds one badass engine. How's it coming along? Nice little video. Oh, is it on? Look back at us in our early days when we first met. All those photos, it was weird because one of them looks like someone shot or photoshopped a bad mustache on me. And then I'm like, gross, it's like 5 pounds all chiseled. 140 pounds. It's like, put that together for you and take this opportunity to do that thing you're all right, so let's get to it. Some of the Facebook posts in the comments, you'll see them. In fact, part of the fun of doing this podcast is reading those comments afterwards, especially if you've been on the podcast.
Yeah.
And you'll have a chance to, there'll be more than enough time for you to read all the love you, love him, great guy. Richard White says what a great guy you are. The list goes on and on. And then there's other guys that pop up that will do anything they can to call you out.
Yes.
Man, your name pops up in a
my
thread or someone
goodness.
shows a what's
Yes.
up with the haters?
It's nothing you can do about it. It's you.
They're gonna be there.
They're gonna be there. It's just how it is.
People say
you
the
know?
mini bike segment is really infested with them, and I got a little bit of a dose of it with some of the postings. In fact, I should probably back up. Let's congratulate Taylor Yoakum, who won that Muscle mini bike build off.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay,
congratulations, Taylor. Taylor's with Go Power Sports. Yep, he put together a cool little bike. There were a lot of other nice bikes that were in that competition as well. So for all those guys who
I
were,
voted for like 3 guys. I might have voted for Taylor.
so you fucked up. You weren't supposed to be voting for all these people. You're supposed to just.
Well, I only voted for one.
All right,
Two
see.
other guys was like, "Hey, I need you to vote for me." So I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and vote." I thought you could only vote one time, but they had different categories.
They did,
you know?
and honestly, it was one of those things where no matter what, it doesn't matter who wins.
Yeah,
What it matters is
yeah.
if they competed. And Joe recently asked about the status of some of those folks who volunteered to be into the build, and then they had to back out.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out, hey, whatever happened to those bikes? I like that. I saw that post that he did recently.
Yeah.
They're all out in Houston now. All of them being Joe Petralia and some of the folks. They're at, I believe it's the Pate or the Tate auction in Texas. And
I seen him with the trailer and all that. They was just pulled up him and his.
Yeah, I think it's
him
Pate
and
or
his wife
Tate
or
auction.
somebody.
It's in Texas. It's pretty well known unless you're an idiot like me. But all the Texas guys, many of them from Go Power Sports, including Taylor and I believe Redbeard, those guys all had a chance to get together and meet each other. Joe got a chance to Go Power Sports and check out their shop, which was awesome.
Yeah.
When you were reading off the sponsors, some of them you're familiar with. Like I know you turned me on to Eric over at Studs back in the day. They would carry your head, right?
Yeah.
Are you
well, kind of.
Yeah.
I used to be with a different guy, but then it went over. The other people completely fell off, and then Studs kind of like took over. So
Yeah.
that day-to-day shop out there. At least what I know, I've never been there before.
Oh, I've been. It's awesome.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like when you go to Stutz and you want to see the F&B pipes,
Yeah.
like there's some F&B pipes.
Yeah.
There ain't 10 of them on a shelf.
Yeah.
With 3 of them that may fit your bike, it's like he's got everyone you want in any application. He's got them 40 deep.
Yeah.
There's a group of trained guys in the back, all like us, all mini bike nuts, small engine guys, some more so than others. All the guys that work behind the counter, all the gals. It's kind of family over there. And got big bugs. Hit him with the brake clean,
that
Ed.
one. You got to spray that.
Is he a
one.
good one?
He went
he's over
down.
by
He
you.
went
Oh,
down
man,
there.
fuck, that's all I need. There you go. Those are, I don't know what those things are, but they'll leave a mark. When I went over there for the meet and greet and had a chance to be with all the guys, Calvin Carisi and Myron and many of the other guys out there, it was like you were home, and there was really a lawnmower shop. That was what Studs was. It's every kind of outdoor lawn service machine you would need. Snow blowers when it got to be the winter. And then the mini bike was a little small thing. Now it's like the whole side of the building. He owns it. He does it right.
Yeah.
Good guys. And actually, I'm hoping that I've got to be in Michigan for one of these events I'm going to be working this year. I'm going to try to get over there again. And I miss Myron. I hadn't had a chance to deal with him or talk with him. He's a big fan. How about people that love MDB? How about Myron? He's a big fan of yours.
I think Myron might have been one of the first guys, if not the first guy, I ever talked to from Detroit. Him or maybe Travis. I think.
Well, you know, Pizza
Charles
Boy,
Harris,
right? Yeah.
But
Charles
he might have been either the second or third.
I haven't heard too much out of Charles lately.
Yeah, I talk to him every other day,
good.
like every other day.
Nice. How are you, Charles? A little shout out to you.
Yeah, he building some stuff or whatever, but he getting back into drag racing, cars.
Oh, okay.
You know, so he
yeah.
kind of getting into that.
Well, you got to be committed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out there, it's easy to do a whole lot more stuff to do out there than compared to California, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's Motor City, baby.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it
is.
goes down there. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at some of the comments. He's looking at some of them. I'm going to be doing the same. What have you been up to lately, Charles? What are these two big hunks of metal you got sitting here on the table?
Well, this is a first generation Bellman head. They have a new second generation, but this is for the GX200. Stock, it flows however much, but it's like the best flowing billet head you can buy.
How's that thing flow?
Well, it flows about 140 stock, but right now, modified the way it is, about 180, you know.
What's a small block Chevy flow?
About 210 or something. It ain't gonna flow that much, you know, for the cubic inches of it, you know what I'm saying?
So what's this application for?
Well, that's my own personal head right there.
Okay.
So I modified it up so I can get as much flow as I can, you know.
So when you say a modified head, is this literally something that's just a big mass for you that you're shaping from that point on?
What people do, they see me build this stuff and they say, man, you know, that's crazy how he did all this and that or whatever. So I say, yeah, man, I had to do this, that. I can do one for you too. It's going to cost you some money, you know. So sometimes every once in a while a guy hit me up like this guy right here. This is the new DED billet head. Everybody buys these. They cost like $600 or whatever.
First gen?
Yeah, they first complete. You know,
okay.
They just now came out about 2 months ago. And,
was that is that the folks from, is it DED Racing?
DED, yeah. They was actually sponsoring the build-off thing. They was into that build-off.
Great.
And they gave away, I think, a free head to whoever won. So maybe the guy,
yeah, you can find out more.
A free head. Right?
Awesome. The guy who won the build-off, yeah.
But a lot of guys have bought this head and they run it bone stock the way it is. And so I flow tested the first one. It flows okay, you know, but it's real close to a cast head. So the guy says, well, I want it all the way modified. What's going to cost you, you know? So I told him how much it's going to cost. He says, no problem.
Let's talk dollars and cents. Where do you start with one of these things, just out of the box to get one?
Bone stock, these cost $600.
All right, so
or $599.99.
So I'm going to buy mine. I'm going to have it delivered to you.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I charge this guy, I think $525 or something, just in modification.
Yeah.
You know? So he was like, oh man, well what am I getting? I had the whole list of this. So now all that's left is just assemble it and get it flow tested. So he go see the improvement on how much it flow. And whatever it flows, let's say if it flows 140, it gains, say, 30 CFM. Doesn't sound that much, but every 5 CFM is a horsepower.
Sure.
You know, so that's 6
And
more
do you also
horsepower.
help him match components?
Yeah.
Which he's gonna have to
he's going to get the correct carb, the correct cam,
Yeah.
the correct head gasket, and I'm doing the block as well. So I have to cut a groove in here to seal all this power up, and you know, it's going to pretty much be bulletproof.
And who is this customer? Who's the guy buying that head? What kind of bike's it on?
No.
No, not who is he, but what type of guy is it?
No,
What kind
he's
of
a kart racer. He's
Oh, okay.
not even in the mini bikes.
No
right?
shit, he's a kart guy.
The kart racer. This is actually going on a 14.5 cubic inch class. So they have what they call it, a big O class or whatever, and they limit it to 14.5. This is back east or whatever.
Okay, it's buffering.
Oh, yeah, it's
Thank you, honey. Give me a thumbs up or down. Okay. Thank you. Linda always comes and helps during the podcast when we have a little bit of a blurb or something that she notices. So thank you, Linda, for doing that. Go ahead. So, because a lot of people who are familiar with you on the podcast know that your roots really go back to karting and a lot of that.
It's most of the stuff here is typically made for karting. And the way it is from the outside, it's going to look like what everybody else has. That's the good thing.
Sure.
Right? So they're going to look and says, he has the same head and block and stuff I have, right? But it's going to be flowing 30 CFM more. So they not going to know why he's making way more power.
But when they see some of the other matchup components that are on that head, a smart guy may be able to
They might notice a
get
bigger
little
carburetor or something, but other than that, they're going to say maybe the carburetor's too big. They're not going to be able to tell from the outside.
That's a great story about deception being quite an art.
Yeah. Well, in car racing, they have a lot of rules. They have stock appearing, you know. They have, you can make it like in the stock appearing, they have where you can run, say, a 390 carb, or you have to run a stock carb. You can bore it out as big as you want to, or you can't have no epoxy, or you can't have no wheels,
they all have their
anything.
different.
They have crazy little rules like that you have to go by. So,
Well, we don't have any of those in the mini bike world, so that's the cool part of it, right?
Not really, nah. They just have small block and big block, you know, so that's pretty much it.
Hey, we're going to take a quick TV timeout. We'll be back after this words from our sponsors from Pioneer Car Audio.
Is your car stereo a little outdated? Don't sell your car. Upgrade it. Get hands-free calling with Android Auto on the new Pioneer Next.
New from the makers of legendary Brake Clean, the Shop Size Brake Clean Pro Series. The larger Pro Size can has 50% more of the brake clean you've trusted for over 47 years. Also available in 3 non-chlorinated formulas.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for hanging there with us. Get a lot of things on the roof. I wasn't sure if that was a bear or a coyote. It was enough for us to stop the podcast, but we're back. Good to have everybody listening and watching again. You know, we got a pretty good following so far. We got like 3,000 followers on the website, or not the website, the Facebook page. And then how could it be that you have less people following you that like you? Ever wonder how that...
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're at 3,000. We're still small, and thank you for that, Dal. But we're back, and if you'd like to tell a friend about Joe's Minibike Reunion, go ahead and do that. We're here with Charles Minidragbike Mosley. It's his 41st birthday. We're here with the Evil One, Evil Ed. And we invite you to go ahead and send in your comments. We've taken the poll down. The poll was up till 8 o'clock Pacific time. And it was a pretty simple one. You love them or hate them. And the final results showed it around a 92, 94% love, Charles. So there's a lot of love out there for you. The one guy, in fact, we are going to isolate the guy, and we'll bring him back after the break. We'll bring back the one hater. We'll bring back the hater. We'll read his comment, and then we'll give you a chance to address it. That'll make for some good podcasts. But we invite you to send in your podcast questions for Charles. We'll be taking him on. And if you have a question or a comment for Ed, we'll take that on as well. I want to give you a heads up on a couple things. I don't know if you do have, but somewhere throughout the podcast, if you could, let me know what you think the dates will be for the May podcast. And I'm happy to announce, Ed, that through the help of Karen Krause, a good friend of ours, and if I'm repeating myself, well, it's Karen Krause. I don't mind doing that. Karen helps us with a lot of things. She's a great ambassador for the hobby. She built some awesome custom seats. She built that one for the Bears custom that we put together. She turned me on to Jeff from the Minibike Reunion in Wimber.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to speak to him on the phone, and I'm excited to say that he'll be joining us on a podcast upcoming in May, talking about their upcoming Wimber event. I want to say it's the
Father's Day
weekend. I think that's June 13th, 14th, and 15th for those of you who aren't fathers.
It starts Thursday, Friday.
And you've been, right, Ed?
Yeah,
and you
I've
loved
been
it.
twice.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to go. I won't have a chance, unfortunately, to make this year's event, but at some point we will be there. I'm looking at that thing. This is
the 50th.
It's the 20th.
20th. Not what I get 50. The 20th.
Well, your heart was in the right place.
I'm thinking of.
I stapled their brochure, Ed. In fact, maybe you can help me as I slap this microphone out of my face. This is their brochure. Pretty impressive. Very top. 20 years. We're into our Joe's Minibike Reunion. It seems like it's a long time.
Yep.
And this guy's just been doing it for
20 years.
And he tells a story. And as I looked back and read his information, I feel like I totally ripped the guy off, and I didn't. But here's what he said: "Hey, it started off a few of us, and we had this little event, and 3 guys showed up, and out of the 3 bikes, fucking 4 didn't run, and there were more signs than mini bikes, and no one."
That's longer than we've been doing it out here in LA. We only been around since like 2002.
Legitimate guy, did it for, he didn't do it to build. There's no sponsor tags or a lot of that junk.
That's all on his own property.
Yeah, and so we're going to have him on the podcast talking about that event. And hey, look, he says he gets people, and I don't doubt it, from just about every state.
No, there's a lot of people that go.
If you're on the East Coast, it's Windber, Pennsylvania. How did you get there, Ed? Didn't you have to go like
No, I flew back there.
Did you have a little bit of a chat? What'd you do? Fly into Pittsburgh, or where do you fly in? Philly?
Yeah, fly into Pittsburgh. Then you got to rent a car in Pittsburgh and drive to Wimber.
Yeah, that's pretty much how they do it.
That's what we did the first time because Guardrail Dave and I went.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty easy.
Second time, I flew somewhere different. I got to Pittsburgh, and then I went to Altoona on a little plane.
Yeah, see.
And then from Altoona, I went to this other little airport, and my friend through old mini bikes picked me up at that little airport.
Oh, so he suggested a little airport. I would have wanted to kill his ass if I had to get in that little fucking rickety plane. Yeah, well, sometimes you have to do that when you get into the smaller communities. I would rather do what you did the first time, which is fly into a real airport with take a real rental car. But anyways, if you want to do all that, it should be fun. They have a parade. They don't have a parade. I wouldn't go for the parade. All I know is it's riding.
Oh, yeah, it's nonstop riding.
I would imagine there's a cool swap meet. And, maybe a little bit of a chance to meet some people and find some parts.
People put up their trailers and stuff. And they put parts out for sale.
So where is it, Ed? Give us some of the details on that flyer. What's it say? Your eyes
trail rides, bike show, swap meet, awards, door prizes.
Where do they go for more info? Is there like a site? Give them something.
You go to Minibike at atlanticbb.net.
Oh, okay. That's Jeff's email address. What is it again?
Minibike.
Yep.
One word.
Sure.
At atlanticbb.net.
That's the Windber Reunion. And you can also check out his Facebook page. It's called Minibike Reunion. Literally, not Joe's or anything like that. Minibike Reunion. So shout out to him. We're also going to have on a guy who puts on the Gambler 500. His name is Tate Morgan. It's in Portland, and I saw my buddy Fred Williams from Four Wheel and Off Road and JP Magazine. He went up there and loved it. It's kind of like a budget deal. It's almost like the $3,000 Roadkill Hoopty Challenge, where your vehicle's got to be $3,000 or less to get in. Theirs is like $500.
I built a bike at Wimber.
While you were there? From did you put together a kit?
I put together a Bonanza.
Oh, what did you put together?
I put a Bonanza BC 1200.
And you fired it and rode it? No, see, that's great. I try to do that with our mini bike show.
Drew had a bunch of parts and had the wheels and stuff all torn apart trying to sell it. So we decided, let's put one together and I'll ride it. The only thing I didn't have was a seat.
Well, who cares, right?
So I took a 6-inch tire without an inner tube in it and sat on that.
There you go.
We've had a motor, everything.
Well, look, the sheer fact that you can ride is what makes it all. That's the one thing that, as much as I'm into my event, it's still really more of a show than it is an actual ride. And we'll always be envious of that. And that's why I'm really looking forward to if Rafa does do something up there at AV.
Yeah.
And I hear some of the banter going back and forth. It's all good natured, especially when you get out and meet the guys.
Yeah.
Because you know all the deal. All the guys, the keyboard warriors.
The feud together.
Yes. And, you give away a few things. You have a couple trophies, and more importantly, you have a beer or soda or something later on, and you hang out. And usually what happens, the guy who's been talking shit about you, his fucking chain ain't going to hook up, or his car ain't going to work, and you end up helping his ass, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to really know that you know your shit. Everything plays out. When you're face-to-face with and that's why I love going out. And, man, we had a great time. It's like, you talk about it almost like you are a kid. I remember like it was yesterday, and I can't wait to go out there again. every time you go out there, you learn something more about your bike. Most of the time it's fixing something, which is okay because that's a great test bed to break something because everybody there that's smarter than you can help you fix the fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, so if you're ever going to want to break down, but it's also treacherous. If you start getting up in a lot of these little bikes, I call them crackhead bikes, and I mean that affectionately. A lot of these rickety rack beat to shit bikes with dudes with no helmet, tank top, flip-flops going by you at 70, building some fast-ass bikes. I saw one guy out there at AV, Charles, and I got to tell you, we've got to do a podcast, and we have to have an area just for the show. I'm telling you this as I look you right in the eye. He built a $25 mini bike.
He did.
And that thing hauled ass. He had a carburetor off an old ATV. His intake was a PVC pipe. You know, the gas tank, God knows what can it concocted from. He had a fork from some old monster that he cobbled together a frame. One wheel off a scooter, one wheel off of an electric car. And the guy was huge. And the bike, and that bike screamed. It was like it was on me.
Past my 3
It was
horse.
well, shit. That fucking guy walking past yours. But no one looked as cool as you. How about your boy Justin? What's he up to now? Is he in Oregon still?
No, he came back.
Did he?
Yeah, he came back Monday, I think.
Yeah.
Sunday night, Monday.
I was going to have him buy a MB. The guy bought
I loaned
new.
him a bike to ride for the AV ride, and he ended up buying it.
That was your...
My Bonanza MX.
Yeah, I would have bought that if he didn't buy it. Hey, how about the engine? This is a 7-horsepower engine that I purchased from... Who's the guy? He's up in Northern California. Good guy. I forget his name. I have brain fade. I'm too old. I bought it from him. It popped up on... I don't know if it was Offer Up or some stupid fucking thing. And it's a 7-horsepower, never had any fluids in it. And it's been there. It's got a 1-inch shaft on it that I guess we can hone down, but it doesn't fit in any frame I own.
Yeah.
It's too tall, even and not just taking off the tank.
You need to buy a tote goat or something.
Yeah, and I don't want any of those big bikes. So guess what? It's up for sale.
Oh.
And check this out. Let me know if you agree with my philosophy. It's like $100 a horsepower nowadays.
Yeah.
In good cases. For example, a guy had a vintage in the box Tecumseh 4 horsepower.
Yeah.
In the box, $400. Guy had a 5 horsepower white early 70s HS 500 550. Guy has a Briggs & Stratton never started IC engine. It's a 3 horsepower. He wants $350. It's $100 a fucking horsepower.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Those H50s, man, they pretty hard to come
They're the most
by or
desirable.
whatever. Yeah.
I stuck one in that little Bonanza behind you.
Yeah.
And there's no denying, Charles, that I would have loved to have had another 5 horse to stick in this frame, this old Rutman.
Yeah.
But the 4 horsepowers, they kind of worked. I had one lying around, but those 5 horsepower Tecumsehs, trying to find them, or even that IC Briggs that I've got on Frankenstein, trying to find those babies now.
No, I was just telling Alfredo about a 5-horse Honda, the flathead.
Yeah.
They extremely rare. I don't know if you might not have ever even seen one.
No, I don't think I have.
Extremely rare, and they actually make more power than the Briggs 5 horsepower.
So where do you find...
It normally was like on air compressors or generators.
Oh, okay.
Same thing, but back in the days, but they converted
Iron
to
cast?
overhead valve earlier than the Briggs did.
Oh, okay. Overhead valve setup, sure.
Yeah, so they went to overhead valve earlier. So that means any flathead 5 will be even older than the Briggs.
You were talking about tips and tricks, and you were talking about being a fan of skinny valves. What's the thing about the valves?
Oh, yeah, these here are trick valves. I got my old valve guy back. He works for TRD, Toyota Racing Division or whatever. But anyway, a lot of people don't like these valves. These are titanium anyway, right? So titanium alone, these here are the original valve that came out of here, I think they was 28 grams. Doesn't sound like much when you into performance. Damn, 28 grams, that's a lot or whatever. But anyway,
28
the
grams is a lot of
titanium
anything.
is normally half the weight. Will be about 14 grams. Then I got another 3 grams off, being it real thin like this. So this is 11-gram valve. And it's not that it's just 11 grams. It's bigger than what it came. It's bigger than the original valve that was in here.
And didn't you talk about flow?
Yeah, so the flow is going to be from 109 to about 140 on this head, So every 5 CFM is a horsepower.
Yeah, well, that's a nice
So
little unit.
typically, how it is or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't know about this stuff, so the dude is paying for it. So I told him I want it done like how you do your stuff. Okay, I'm gonna do it that way then. So that's what he paid for.
So you never really got into the traditional build-ups. I mean, maybe early on you did. I don't want to take words or put words in your mouth, but did you ever spend a lot of time with that Briggs 3 horsepower?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
did you do your time?
Saying.
Yeah.
I used to have a Ford Tecumseh like that. It might have been blue or something, but I had a cousin, and his birthday is today. Right?
Who's your cousin?
To be exact, my cousin Dollar.
How old is Dollar?
He turned 39.
Is his name Bill?
Right? We always celebrate our birthdays together.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. But
Wish him a happy birthday.
yeah, happy birthday, Dollar Bill. Yeah,
Happy birthday, Dollar Bill.
So anyway, I had a 4, and I thought a Ford Tecumseh, you couldn't do nothing about it. I had a 4, right? Only thing can beat me is a 5 or a legendary Mack engine.
That's
right?
when we thought that just the number of the horsepower made your,
Man, my cousin had a 3.5 Briggs, and no matter what, he kept beating me, right?
Really beating you or just?
He kept beating me over and over again. And I'm like, how can this 3.5 beat me, right? Then later on, as I, knew about the engines or whatever, the piston is bigger in the 3.5, and it's the same size piston as the 5 horse. But the stroke is bigger than the 5 horse. That's the only difference between the two, right? But the Briggs, the Tecumseh design doesn't flow good at all, right? It's just pour all the way, but it is 4 horse, so it magically makes 4 horsepower. But I'm like, I still don't understand how is it making 4 horsepower.
So the obvious question is already answered. Then you're much more fan of the Briggs, and I think Ed, you are too. Is the Tecumseh?
Yeah, but I used to have a huge Tecumseh Star engine, and it was really powerful. It was like 40 horsepower. So,
well, I guess all this talk about the vintage engines is that I was thinking almost the same way. Hey, bigger's faster. I really liked the dependability of the vintage 4s, and I've got them on a couple of the choppers, the Bonanza choppers, the CR400's a 4 horsepower, the CR500's the 5. Man, I had a couple 5 horsepowers, but when this one popped up, it's like, oh, how cool. I didn't realize that literally the size of it.
Yeah.
Not the horsepower size, but
the size.
It's like a big block compared to a small block.
Yeah.
It really is. The tank's an easy takeoff and removal, but all this other shit, it's like, so I'm opting out.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to just take this on and you've got a big frame bike that just would be perfect for. I'd be even open to swaps for a brand new vintage HS500 if someone has one.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in buying this engine, let me know. Joe's Minibike Reunion Facebook page. And see it. It's in the box. Is it in the box or am I lying? That Predator V-twin. See it right there next to the Minibike?
I know somebody might want something like that.
So check it out. You can't get those. You can't just walk in and buy them.
Yeah.
So my cousin Eddie, I won't give you his last name, in Arizona, I said, look, just go buy whatever you can get. Get the biggest one, and he got the V-twin. And then even the small ones you can't get, the 79 cc's.
Yeah.
You can't get them. I had to put one in the Temecula Bob micro bike. I bought 2 of them. So I got another 79 cc.
Just in case.
Because you can't buy them in California.
Yeah.
So,
California and they laws, California
Arizona's
laws.
not far.
Yeah.
But it's easy to say that. Now fucking go do it. Now go call somebody in Arizona, have them go buy one, put it in a fucking crate, put a sticker on it, call FedEx Express, leave it in front of their door.
Yeah.
No one's doing that shit. I hated even asking them. Now I got them. I must have been going crazy a couple years ago, Charles.
Yeah.
It's like, by the end, it's like, all right, great. It's not going to fit in anything. Let's just build something around it. And then one turned into 20, and I had too many stupid projects that had no true finish line. I brought it all back.
Yeah. Well.
And so that V-twin, I think by the time I got it for a good price, I think I paid 7 or 6 something when they were 9 something.
Mm-hmm.
I lost whatever I saved to pay for it to get it sent there from Arizona. $600.
That's
a great deal.
man,
So
right
it's still in the
there.
box. If Rashane was talking about it. Rashane, check him out, Rashane, because I know you're listening because Charles is on. Fucking Rashane. He's like, Joe, you take PayPal? It's like, boom, fucking bingo. Yeah, I take PayPal. Who the fuck don't take PayPal now, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I do. Yes, sir. Certainly do. Yes, sir. Crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets. I said, I hit him back again. Yo, Rashane, it's like, yep, I sure do.
Yeah. I had to start using that. A lot of people don't have PayPal, but they started this new thing at Walmart where it's like direct pay now.
What's
you can
Walmart?
just go straight to Walmart and it's like direct cash or whatever it is, something like that.
Like they're a bank?
Yeah. You go straight to Walmart. They say, I want to send somebody $1,000 to Florida.
Oh, so they're
whatever,
like Western
right?
Union through Walmart.
You go straight to Walmart and say, you give them the person's name and what's the address or whatever like that, and you give them the money, they only charge you like $4. It's less than PayPal.
Someone in the jail's figuring out a way to scam that shit already.
Like, man, this is amazing, because when you go, they give you all the money. You know, like when you get
they take away a fee.
Yeah. The PayPal, they charge you, say, like 4% or something like that.
It's $3.80,
whatever, right? And now, if you was to send $1,000, that's a lot of money, right? Or when you doing, when you go to Walmart, $4.
And PayPal,
no matter
they make
how much you send.
Yeah.
You
PayPal,
know? So
they
I'm
make
like,
you.
Whoa, man.
Because, well, part of that, they realize a lot of people are going to have some issues.
Yeah.
And then, they send them out to the credit hounds. And
yeah, you just go right to Walmart. You give them your ID, or whatever. They says, okay, what's the person that sent the name? And you be like, oh, the name is David or something, right? Okay. And they just cash all the money right there. No check or nothing, no card or none of that stuff.
Didn't know that.
Cash right there. Bam.
we got to find out more about this. Hey, we have had a lot of people send in some comments. And before I even get to them, here's what I'd like to do. We're going to take a quick break, as we typically do. We're going to run a few things. I'd like to run that spot, if we can, the video on Charles, if you don't mind. And let's just run the commercials once, and then we'll just put our logo up there. We're going to be back in about maybe 5-10 minutes the most. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast. We're here with Evil Ed. We're here with Charles MDB. It's the 41st birthday for Charles. It's great for you to be spending some time with us. We were bouncing all around there, having some good times. We'll focus in on the comments. That'll be the thrust of the second half of the show. We'll be giving away some autographed brake clean cans, Joe's Minibike Reunion garb. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast, Season 4, Episode 4. We'll be back in a flash.
Is your car stereo a little outdated? Don't sell your car. Upgrade it. Get hands-free calling with Android Auto on the new Pioneer Next.
New from the makers of legendary Brake Clean, the Shop Size Brake Clean Pro Series. The larger Pro Size can has 50% more of the brake clean you've trusted for over 47 years. Also available in 3 non-chlorinated formulas.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Joe's Minibike Reunion Podcast. It is Season 4, Episode
4.
Kind of like a 44. That's 3 years more than
Charles,
because Charles is 41.
One.
Wow. That's a lot. Boy, what would you do to fucking get back to 41?
I don't even remember when I was 41.
If I just had a chance to redo 50 through 59 and know what the fuck I now know, God. Fuck. I thought Spigot was going to just keep pouring out. Then it's like, is there anything in there? Anything else? No more? Oh, well. What's the old expression? If I had the chance, I'd do it all over again. Fuck that. Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Want to thank our sponsors. Charles, you're a pro at it right now. Why don't you thank some of our sponsors while I put together the finishing touches on this beautiful birthday
always
cake?
Thinking Pioneer Car Audio and Go Karts USA.
Yep, Go Karts USA.
And Studs Hardware?
Well,
or what
they got a website now. They're known as Power Sports. It's Studs Power Sports.
Yeah.
And they have
GoPowersports.com.
And that's where Joe Pacelli was with the guys from Go Power Sports and Taylor, who won that build-off contest. Charles, from Samantha, this is, I guess from all of us, a little happy birthday for you. It's the one candle reflecting the 41st and the one candle from Good Luck. Linda, thank you for all your help here. Happy birthday to you. That's right?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, this big, lovable Charles Mosley.
Happy birthday
to you. Charles, blow him out. Folks, those of you who think Charles has a big head, well, I'll tell you what. Literally, he does. Figuratively, no. And if he did, his friends are already blowing him up on, is it Twitter that you're getting all those memes?
No, Facebook.
Oh, Facebook, they're already doing the memes? Yeah. I get them too. I do. I find myself, what do you do?
I say, anyway.
Anyway, that's your thing?
Oh, but you know what I actually say a lot? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I don't normally say it like on video. I know.
You don't do the know what I'm saying.
Get off another subject because I'll ramble on about something.
Yeah. Well, look, happy birthday. And again, what a gem you have there with Samantha. In fact, let's do this. You can't have a birthday celebration without the birthday wish.
Yeah.
So here's the knife.
Oh.
See, when I first met you, I'd worry about giving you that knife. But so there's your wish. Don't tell us what it is. Make a good wish. Make it count. He's so picky, fucking cutting around the green shit. He's worse than me with the no onions, and you don't like this, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. I can relate to that. Get yourself a big piece. Cut one for Evil Ed. And while you're at it, just keep cutting. We got me. We got Emmanuel. And Linda's good.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, Linda's good. She's packing up. Linda and I are taking. Look at look at that ring. Hold on. Do we have a subliminal message here?
Oh, no.
A little ring action there? Could there be more to this romance? Well, look, I'll let it hang out there, but just saying, Charles, there's a ring. Is that two rings?
I'm trying
Wait
to
a
get
minute.
out the way.
What if it's a
3 of
goddamn
them.
wedding invitation? If there's one of those fucking notes in there where she proposes, I did not sign up for that shit, Charles.
I think I didn't cut that. If it's in there, I didn't cut it.
Well, hey, look, this could be more than a birthday. This could be a wedding opportunity in the future. Who knows? Anyways, congratulations.
Anyways.
Anyway, so you got me saying that shit now.
Let's get back to making some horsepower.
So getting back to the horsepower. Everybody wants to know, hey, Charles, if I do this, and this to my Honda GX 200, how much more horsepower? Charles, how much does it cost to go 100 miles an hour? what are all these constant questions that are really open-ended questions, right? They really don't have any specific question. Guys fishing for shit.
Yeah.
What's the most common one that you get that you either love or hate?
They typically ask me, okay, or they'll run me down what they have. How much power do I have?
Sit down. Let me finish to get this for you. Talk.
They'll say, how much power do I have? I have this, that, and then they know I'm pretty honest with everything. So I just tell, oh man, you ain't making that much power. You got 18 horsepower.
Got it.
Oh man, the
I'm the
dude
fastest
told
guy
me
in
I have
Louisiana.
about 25. Well, hey, sorry to tell you, man, about 18 horsepower. And they be like, man, so it's just how it is. You don't typically make that much power. Or they would say, I'm supposed to buy this. What camera make the most power or whatever? So you get a lot of questions, man. I know I get a lot. I get about 30 a day.
Give me the one that you get the most often. What's the question? A lot of guys run in Predators. You get a lot of Predator questions. How do they, what's the...
Or they'll ask me, typically the most common one is, if I go from a standard board to a 2.8, how much more power am I make?
Okay.
And so I tell them, well, for every 50,000s overboard, you get about a horsepower. So that's pretty much, you can do the math from there.
So the question that I get, that I see a lot, I don't get questions because I'm not really a tech guy, so to speak, compared to, especially you guys, or Ed for that matter. It's Hemi. Hemi versus, hey, should I get the Hemi?
Yeah, I see that too.
So talk about what you think are the advantages of that Hemi and maybe what some of the better options may be just with your standard 212cc Predator. What do you think?
Well, if you have a real mild build, even if you run on gasoline, the Hemi head is better for real milder builds. But for all-out performance, the conventional head is best.
A mild build being what, horsepower-wise?
I would say 20 horsepower or less.
Okay. And how many Predators do you build how many Hemi-style engine builds do you find yourself working with compared to non-Hemis?
Oh, it's rare. First of all, the Hemi engine is illegal in California anyway, So I may do a Hemi head maybe one a month. It's rare.
Okay, so it is rare then, right?
Yeah, it is rare.
Charles,
the last one I think I did for a guy in the AV.
Fredo?
Not Fredo. What's this guy? Aurelio?
Oh, yeah, Aurelio.
Aurelio or something? Yeah.
Hey, let's get back to Fredo's bike and that engine.
Oh, okay.
What can you tell us? He was pretty proud of it for all the right reasons. Is there anything you can tell us?
I built his
Linda?
engine. I was purposely made Fredo's engine more powerful than the engine I had originally built myself back in the days that I sold to another guy, right? And I only did this because originally I thought Fredo and the guy was going to go to the dyno competition at Joe's, right? So I said, if they go head to head at the at the dyno, he should make more power. I know what I put in this one compared to what I put in that one, right? And but neither one of them, showed up. Well, he showed up at the event, but he didn't have a chain or a whole bunch of little stuff he was missing. Oh man, the thing that flew on there that time. God damn it.
You got bugs in the ice cream?
He flew on there that time. But anyway, he made more power. Well, I wanted him to at least be able to start the engine up, but they didn't have like fuel line and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, I need that.
Hey, everybody say hi to Boom Boom. Linda's going to help us clear up some of this mess.
Thank you, Boom Boom.
Yeah, so
thank you, Dolly.
The bike looks really, really nice, and he came and say second place. I thought he was going to actually win the best drag bike, right? But I actually won it. I only won it because I started my bike up.
Sure.
The one with the Beast engine. But I've been had that bob frame for maybe 8 years now. I just didn't have no bike for that engine. So just to make the show, I put it on that frame, no chain or nothing, and just brung it on up there.
It's funny how that dyno has gone from just another thing to have to really almost, especially in the minds of guys like you, the most important part of that show.
Yeah.
So I felt with you, and I say this to Ed and a couple other folks, is like what we're doing here, our podcast, our show, and I mean that. It is our show. It is our podcast. Whenever you have an idea about that, Charles, about what we can do with that, Lou's very cool, the dyno guy.
Yeah, he is.
And it was funny because I just sold, everybody knows him. I just sold a bezel to a Ducati Scrambler that I had to some guy in Orange County. He came up and he said, "Oh, I used to live around here." He goes, "You know Lou the dyno guy?" That's when you know you got a cool guy. So Lou's going to be there, and I kind of run that thing. It's really not a competition. I have a Best Dyno award, and he keep track, but I don't really make it seem like it's some big thing. It's just another thing for those folks who like it. Like judging the dyno, I'm
It's
finding
the testosterone.
it's all that.
It's men.
It's all that. Yes.
It's men and testosterone. We want to win. We want to be the best at something.
So here's what I
right?
also realized, and that's why I love Joe Petrolia and Justin for what they did with the competition. I could deal with the whole testosterone thing on site, face to face with the guys.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent, because most guys are having a great time there. It's really, it's like a high five, back slap, and fun event. There are a few people that get upset at the end because they didn't win something, but for the most part, but you do something online when anybody can say anything, and I still see that you get ribbed a lot about that. There was probably 45, 50 posts, and again, I could sit here and read them all to you where they love you and they know you and they look forward to seeing you. If you guys want to see you out at AV, some people said they've never seen you at AV. Mm-hmm. So when you go out there, it's because people want to see you, and people want to hear it. So Fredo wasn't telling us too much about that engine. You don't seem to be too open mouth about it too.
Can't really
now, why is it?
Because
he's waiting for the competition, right? He's waiting for the run.
Yeah, because they have a feud going. The LA guys and the AV guys, right? So with it being a feud,
Why is everybody giving Fredo shit?
I don't know. Fredo's a real nice guy.
So
right?
who put that post up there? You?
About what? Oh no, I put up there that he's a nice, because he really is a nice guy.
Yeah, but
right?
who put the post up?
I put it up there that he's a nice guy. But I hear all the time, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to get him. That dude talks a lot of mess." But he's not really talking mess. He's just confident in his bike, right? If you say, "Hey, I'm gonna beat you," if you feel, "Man, he can't beat me with that bike," that's the same way I feel the same way. I see this dude here got a cheap chain. He pulled starting his bike. I know there's no way his bike is on the same level as my bike. Right. So if he say, "I'm gonna beat you," I'm gonna say, "No." And instantly when I say, "No, you can't," then all of a sudden, "Oh, you talking mess." No, you the one who initiated everything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Fredo was there. His bike don't even have a chain on the bike. You know, he don't even have fuel line, but his bike looked nice. And so it's attracting a lot of attention. Damn, man, this bike is nice. Everybody's taking pictures of it, right? So that instantly is like, yeah, that's the dude right there. Even though it was like 15 other AV guys there, they're not even looking at them. This guy here, this is the bike we heard about. It's supposed to be fast. We got to beat his ass. So now they don't like you.
Gotcha.
Because you the one supposed to be the fastest one in the AV.
And you got no chain, and your fuel line's not hooked up.
Yeah.
You ain't showing
they
what.
just heard about you. So them hearing, there it is. That's the same thing if somebody come from Texas and they want to beat somebody out here, they want to beat me. If they beat somebody named Steve, who is Steve in California? We don't know Steve. Yeah. You beat MDB? For real? It's on video? We need proof of this. Because it's like, what? I don't know, man. He got a bunch of bikes. They all fast. So you got to have proof of this.
You know what the speed does? And I had never experienced it. Thank you, Doc. And actually found this too. I'd never gone fast.
Yeah.
I'd never gone fast. I'd never gone over, I don't know if I had anything that, Frankenstein don't do 55.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's a 5 horsepower IC Briggs.
Yeah.
A little warmed over, a little head work.
Well, look.
I was going nuts
looking
for
a quick story about this one, right?
Thank you.
When I've been probably met Evil Ed maybe for about a year at this time, right? This is maybe about 8 years ago. Maybe it's longer than that. This is around 2000. This is about 10 years ago. Let's just say, because I always just say 10 years, right?
Okay. Thank you, honey.
Anyways.
When we used to go out there to the valley, me and my buddy Ice House Ronald, right? We used to go out to the valley. We was way faster. And me, I always like, these dudes is always talking about beat me. They way slow. It was dudes that, even that I didn't really know these guys that good, they always talk about beating me all the time. And it's nothing you can do. Y'all just way, way slow, right? So I used to have a little bike we run.
Slow being what? How fast were you going?
I was only going 72 mile per hour back
All right,
then.
and those guys
right?
were 50-mile-an-hour bikes?
Yeah, but this was my gasoline bike. I had a race alcohol bike too, but to pull start and run on the street was gasoline, right?
Yep.
So they had a cannonball run, right? And so when we got on the street, look, and and I was telling people, they be like, Charles, he always be over-exaggerating. No, this is exactly what happened, right?
What happened?
We got open and we left from the park. It was like about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Park.
We left about 6 o'clock in the morning and we took off, and it's like about 40 mini bikers on the street.
What
on
time
the
in the
city
morning?
streets, about 6 in the morning.
Okay.
Right? And so we cruising and we get to a main street. I don't even know what street it is, but we looked at Ronald, me and Ronald looked at each other, and we was like, you ready to hit it? Hit it. And we hit the throttle down. First, we all in the pack with everybody else, right? We took off.
How many of you guys were out there?
It was about 40 of us. It was so many.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
We had a race
Yeah.
from North Hollywood Park to the Calabasas.
Calabasas. It was a lot of miles, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So when we took off,
Fucking mini bikes?
Yeah.
yeah, at least 40.
And what about gas?
If you ran out of gas, you just stop at the gas station or whatever.
Gotcha.
Right?
So you were, I didn't
Yeah.
know if you were taking back roads or what the hell you guys were
I
doing.
had a
That's a long
backpack
fucking
on,
way.
I had a camera on my helmet, all type of stuff, right? City streets, right?
Calabasas from
Yeah.
North Hollywood.
So when I hit the throttle, we took off and we got like out of sight. We were so far, we was out of sight. We couldn't even see them no more, right? Literally like a city in front of them. So anyway, we pulled over, we ran up into Starbucks. Then this is how far, this is how I tell people, right? They're like, man, you ain't even that far. Look, we were so far to everybody else. I ran into Starbucks, stood in line, ordered a mocha latte, right? Look, got the mocha latte, left it on the table, took the receipt, came back, start my bike up. Then I said, oh, they coming now. See, that's how far they was behind us, right? And he said, no, you can never be that far in front of somebody. Listen, I was standing behind the guy in front of me in line, right? And we inside of a Starbucks, about 6:15 in the morning or whatever, right?
Opening it up.
Yeah, that's how far. And by the time we came out, they was just coming down the street, right? And then we said, hey, look at, they just now getting here. And then we took off again and left them again, right? And so they was like, I can't believe how fast these guys are going. But we was only going like 65 or something like that.
And that's about as fast as I was going on that bike this past
But back
AV
then,
ride. That was
everybody only had like 3 horsepower.
Yeah.
You know,
That's why
so it was like,
you're running away
it
from
was unheard of to have the speed we was having.
And I actually felt that way about that bike. You know, let's face it, it's no different than when you're riding dirt bikes and everybody's got a 250 and somebody shows up with a 500.
Yeah.
And now he's way ahead of everybody and now everybody else is like, you know, and it's like you got to ride with, you want to be within the range that most of the people are with.
You want to, yeah.
And-
now
and it's-
everybody's going kind of fast
And
now.
it was nice, though, because you always want to be that guy going fast. I'd much rather be in the pack and riding along at the same tempo as everybody else, generally speaking. It's nice to break out once in a while, just like it's nice to go do a little dirt riding. Justin was able to take your Bonanza and do a little off-road riding. You can't do that shit around here. I wish I could fucking ride around the trail here. You'd be pulled over by the cops in like in 2 seconds. So AV gives us all that. That's upcoming. They talk about maybe doing one on Cinco de Mayo. Jake Moe and Midgie and that Built Mini Bikes Instagram page will keep you up to date on that. Once I find it out, I typically share it. Keep in mind some of your shout outs, guys. And look, we've had some questions and some comments. Some of the questions and comments were pretty basic stuff. You should know most of the questions that we look for Charles are a little bit more than that. But I want to begin by shouting out to Samantha again. Charles, you're a good friend who gave us this nice, and the cake was really good, and the ice cream was awesome, and the root beer was good. Thank you, honey, for that nice effort. We'll look forward to maybe meeting you in person at Joe's Minibike Reunion. I'm 6 months away from being able to confirm the date. I go down there May the 1st, and hopefully I'll have a date announcement shortly. I want to give a shout out to my nephew Corey, my cousin Steve. I mentioned Samantha, Brian, and Jess Ekstrom, friends of mine from the Roadkill Mayhem. Glenn Mitrina, who has been helping me recently with some parts for my little Rutman bike. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Calvin Carisi. Cam White, Jason Baxter, Tyrone Faust, Sylvester Martin, Mike Mercurio, Sultan Batswan, Bill Shepard, Ben Strick, Casey and Freddie Brim. I was going to say Luke McGee, but Charles is going to say that, so now we're going to say it 2 times.
Yeah,
Justin
Luke
Lee
McGee,
Savage, Myron Bailey. My sister-in-law should be in bed by now. Hi, Gail. My brother-in-law, Mike and Marv. John Benet Ramsey. Temecula Bob. Taco Bill. Temecula Bob, hope you're doing well. Looking forward to getting my box. Justin Eichler, we talked about you. We talked about Rashane. Garrett Curtis. Garrett Shander. My main man, Jake Moe. Dane. All the local guys. Irving. Ian Cordova, Joe Donato, John Barkley, Brian Downard from Locar. Now, Brian Downard from Locar. Locar are those guys in Tennessee, Knoxville, and they make those high-end street rod components.
Yeah, I remember them.
Everything.
I remember them.
Locar's really nice, beautiful people. Skip and Debbie Walls. Brian,
billet everything.
I use
seen
that exclusively on my
grills
51.
and shifters and all that
Handles,
stuff.
pedals,
Yeah.
transmission.
Bell housings and all that stuff. I've seen them.
Anything and everything that you need to bolt on, whether it's accessory, pulleys, drives, just great stuff. The pedals particularly.
Yeah.
Brian and I joke every SEMA show about, and Brian's a little bit shorter and a little bit fatter than me. And he's actually balder too. So now we hit the trifecta. Brian keeps talking shit about going 100 miles an hour. And like, you know the deal. Most of those guys talk about going 100 miles an hour like me.
Which Brian you talking about?
Brian Downard, the guy who works at
Oh,
Locar.
okay. I don't
On
know.
a
him.
minibike.
Yes, on a
Oh,
mini bike.
okay.
And defining a mini bike, you know, how do you define a mini bike?
Have he even
8-inch
rode? He
wheels.
rode a fast mini bike?
That's what I'm getting to. All these guys that talk about going 100 miles an hour had never been on a mini bike over 50 miles an hour.
I
Guaranteed.
had a buddy, man. He just fell on the mini bike, and he was always talking about going 100 miles an hour.
Everybody has been talking about going 100, so add Brian to the list. He is working on with, as he describes it, some pretty smart guys in the automotive industry that have built some record award-winning automotive vehicles. Quote unquote, this mini bike shit's real easy to these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Brian says that he is going to Bonneville in a year with a modified CT70. He's going to keep us abreast.
That's not a minibike.
Well, that's what I talked about. Wheel size.
Yeah.
So
and then
that's going to be a
Bonneville-
question. That's going to be a
T70
question.
has gears.
Some of them are automatic, just to let you know. And people have this general description that they start with like
If
a
you go to
CT70
Bonneville,
chassis.
you know, you
But
go
here's
a whole
what
mile.
you have
It's
to
not a mini bike.
you have to define it. So that's
It's
what
a
that's
mini trail.
that's what I want to ask you
Yeah,
guys.
trail
What is a
bike.
mini
What
bike?
is it?
When someone says I want to have a mini bike, what would define a mini bike
They
to
was calling
Charles?
pocket bikes at one time mini bikes.
You got to define
know?
it by engine, and you have to
We
define it
always
by
talking
wheel
about
size,
like
right,
a
Ed?
lawnmower base engine,
Lawnmower base engine with
maybe
6-inch
6-inch
wheels.
wheels or something on there. You
So-
know,
so here's
no
what I-
shifting gears.
Yeah, no shifting.
You know.
gears.
It should be 8-inch. It should go up to 8. You could buy a mini bike kit
Yeah,
like this.
maybe 8.
So you
yeah.
should go 8-inch, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still.
The main thing is
You're
the
still 6?
engine.
Here's
the
the thing
main
with 6,
thing
Ed.
is a lawnmower base engine, and you ain't shifting gears.
That's vintage. That's what it started out with. 5 and 6-inch.
yeah.
To us, yes. So if we called it a vintage mini bike world record versus what's now being generically referred to as mini bike, which is kind of all encompassing back how we know it up to what's available now. Look, guys, there's mini bikes now that we know are really just mini motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I say that's wrong. I will give a guy an 8-inch wheel, especially if he's going to go 100 miles an hour. And it's not so much that I want to keep him in check, but it's safety-wise.
dirt bike engines on mini bikes, and you be like, okay, well,
No.
me and Cliff had that little argument about that a while back.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
last year about the whole thing, you know, putting a dirt bike engine on there. You shifting 5 or 6 gears, man.
All right,
come
so
on.
no shifting.
You know,
No shifting. Wheel, you say 6-inch, you say 6 or 8? Just
you can
curious.
run 8. I don't. I
Okay,
really
so
don't
he's
care
kind of
about the
open to wheel size, which
but
would be important. What would be the other criteria, Ed? No suspension, rigid frame? I mean, what about the frame?
Well, that just depends on you.
Because you would
They
think
did
you'd let
have
it suspension, so they
bikes,
can have front or rear suspension. Okay.
But pull start.
Okay, so that's the
Pull
deal.
start or electric start as long as it's a lawnmower engine.
Up to maximum horsepower.
I wouldn't say maximum. That's up to
no,
you.
because you can build anything from an engine.
So we're
be
going to
the
allow
same
somebody to put a
mini
fucking
bike.
airplane motor on a
No.
No,
Okay, so
you know what I'm
lawnmower
saying?
based.
okay.
Lawnmower base
So that's what it is,
engine.
lawnmower based. So what
Yeah.
is the maximum that would go in
They got a
lawnmower
lot
based?
of big lawnmower base engines.
What's it go up to?
You can put one of those on there. That's 670.
Gotcha.
That's still considered to be. It could be a wood chipper. Or
So
anything
I
or
would have to
whatever.
drill down to define really what a lawnmower based engine would be. But so we got pretty
Yeah.
much the criteria then. We know
Lawnmower
the wheel size.
generator or anything like that. But you can't put no.
Just basically like in the 60s.
Yeah, You can't put nothing that come on.
See, if somebody wants to do a moto
vehicle.
or a Doodlebug or one of these Motovox frames.
I don't like Doodlebugs.
Well, just because we don't like them doesn't mean that they can't compete, though, right?
Doodlebug, I like a Doodlebug.
So if somebody wanted to, so you can't just say it.
Doodlebug is fine. It's a mini bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but we're talking like no mini trails, no shifting.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So and that's the one thing I got out of that.
Shifting gears, whether it's an automatic 3-speed or what, no shifting gears. It has to be centrifugal clutch.
Got it. So then, with that said, a CT70 is going to really, in any fashion, based on the wheel size, it's not going to that style would not be accepted in a competition.
I wouldn't think so.
I think, but any
Because it would be a favorite. It would be a
You
favorite.
can take this mini bike right here and go 100. If you go to Bonneville,
Yeah.
you just throw a few more teeth in the front. You can go 100.
Okay, so that's what everybody says.
You remember that old Hot Rod or whatever magazine that is with the double McCullough engines?
Yeah.
And you was like, I know that bike or
Was that
whatever.
Riding Custom?
And he's supposed to, yeah. He's supposed to have went, what was it, like 88 or something?
guy with the 2 West Bends?
In the 8th mile at Irwindale. But this is like back in the 60s. What is it? If that bike just went
Well,
1 mile, he'd be over 100 mile per hour
In
easy.
Bonneville.
Well, you just can't, the distance is what it is, I've never been 100 yet.
So has
None of
anybody,
my bikes.
anybody who's listening, has anybody that you've known, and we've all heard the stories, you can keep the stories, but is there anybody legitimately that's gone, let's say even over 90, that they can point to on a mini bike based on what we talked about?
I've been over it. My bike's been 98. I got a 96 and a 98 mile per hour bike at my house right now.
Where'd you run that?
Right on Anna Street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See,
right
to me,
on Anna.
here's the
But you
deal,
can
though.
only go quarter mile.
And how
If
do you
you
know
go
you
in
ran
that
that fast?
speed,
So
it's hard to shut down at the other
phone,
end.
for your phone speedo or a speed gun?
With the radar gun.
Radar gun.
Yeah, I got a radar gun, yeah. So you get to the finish line, they go down there to the starting line, and they come down the street, choom, or whatever. But you can only go,
I say you got to
can't
do it on
really
a
go
track.
no further
I say you
than
got to do it
that.
on a track. I
You know?
say that, and I'm not questioning whether you did or didn't. You could have gone even
No,
faster.
I never went 100. See, if I was gonna lie, I'd just say, well, it's 2 mile per hour. Let me just say 100. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
I can't get to 100.
So I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that I do believe there's a track. It's Tucson Raceway, and we have friends there. They are hosts for us for the Roadkill events. They have tech, but they're well experienced. They're a little bit open, unlike Irwindale, where it's pretty restricted. And any place in California, Verona,
Yeah.
anywhere, it's tough. Arizona, we got some guys that'll let us run a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, at some point, maybe we'll be talking about this in a future JMBR podcast, but I think we can make I think we could really identify maybe 8, 10 legitimate guys, just like they're doing these buildups, but guys that want to enter and compete to try to go 100 miles an hour, and we can take them to Tucson. We don't have to take them to Bonneville. A lot of opportunities, because going fast, I got a little dose of it. That's why I'm a little bit excited about
Yeah.
it. That's all you do. You're in that speed world. Charles, how about some shout-outs as we get to the end of the podcast?
Okay, I wanted to give a shout out to Luke McGee. He made a couple of custom parts for me, and he's making these new billet camcorders. So I plan on getting a couple of billet cams made. I'm getting them made by Tim, Tim Iskey.
Sure.
Shout out to him too. But I
Tapping
had to
Tim.
get the cores now from Luke because dyno cams, they done went up on the price of their camcorders. So with their cams going up, it's cheaper now to get them from Luke. Luke got them and they just as strong, so it doesn't matter, you know.
How's Tim?
He's fine. I was just there with him earlier today.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
That's
Good.
why I got this cam right here. From
Shout out
Tim.
to you, Tim. Hope you're doing well.
You
Hope
know.
your wife's doing well. Who else you want to give a shout
I
out
had
to?
to give a shout out to my buddy. A lot of people think that I just build everything, but a lot of my stuff come from a friend of mine from the Philippines. He imports stuff. And they always like, oh man, how did you get that or whatever? I'm like, oh, my buddy, he imports it, but he only goes 2 or 3 times a year to the Philippines. He'd get like a certain block or these coils I was
What's his
getting,
name?
these super Carlos Manosa.
Shout
He on
out
my
to
Facebook
Carlos.
page or whatever.
All
but
right.
He gets these things and he modifies them. He checks the voltage and all this stuff I post up. And that really be him doing all that because he's real good with the electrical, you know. And I was having a problem the first time I ran 98 mile per hour. I could never do it again. It went 98, 96, 94, 93, 92. It kept getting slower, and I kept saying, what is the problem? It was the coil the whole time, right? So he hit me to this coil that he got from overseas or whatever, right? And so when I use it, it was consistent.
It retained its power.
Yeah,
you were
it kept consistent, because normally it would miss. It would act like a rev limiter. The cheap ones, the stock ones, would act like a rev limiter or whatever. So, yeah, I had to learn, over a period of time. It's got limitations pretty much everything.
Who else you want to shout out?
Dustin Stevenson, he's my carb guy. I've been with him now for maybe 5, I don't know, something like that. I met him on fourcycle.com or whatever, but he does carbs whenever, I had lost the engine challenge or whatever, so
yeah, I heard a little banter back and forth on that.
Yeah, I sent him my carb and he told me, oh, this was the problem, right? So when he told me, okay, now I know, and he fixed the problem. So now my engine is like ready to go, but I don't have no bike. I don't have nothing really to do with the engine, so I plan on putting it on my bike and running in the GT's event.
You took a lot of slack from a lot of the people saying that you were making up a lot of excuses about why you didn't win. What
normally,
was up
I just congratulated the guy. He won. He did everything fairly, and I lost. You know what I'm saying? My strategy was to build the engine. I was way ahead of time, right? But I had shipped it to the guy. I told him already, this is what I want to do, right? I'm going to ship it to you. It's your dyno. Tune it 100% on your dyno. And then once you do that, just put it to the side, put a plastic bag over it, and wait till the event. Cool. I'm paying you to test and tune my engine. Now, I can do it locally myself. That's what I did last time, but it didn't go right because the temperature and altitude or whatever else out in, he's in Virginia, right? So I was running fine out here. As soon as I ship it to Virginia, the engine running bad. Like, what happened, right? But luckily, I still won. But this time I said, okay, I know what to do. I'm going to ship it to him and have him tune it perfectly for out there, right? But he ran out of time and he didn't have time to do it. So he left me with a situation. He was like, well, what do you want to do? I didn't have time to do it. So you want me to either ship it back?
Yeah.
He was like, ship it back.
Or run it like it's
or run it the way it is. So I already paid $110 shipping.
You had a big disconnect there.
Yeah, so I'm like, well,
if he knew you were sending that engine
to
him in advance so it could be tuned for the competition.
Well, I told him even before I shipped it.
Yeah.
Right.
See, so and I don't know the guy, and I know it's not like you have a problem with him, but because I read the thread and I stayed through the whole thing, and I was looking back at it as your fan and as also jumping on some of the other things that I thought. It's like, well, you put a lot, you risked a lot.
Yeah.
You put a lot in his hands.
I don't mind losing, but I like to lose if I'm at 100%. Damn, dude just flat out beat me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And then I got to live with this for a whole year. Like, damn, now that the engine is running 100%, I can't tell you what the horsepower makes, what it makes now. So if I hold on to the engine, I can just resend the same engine back, no different, right? But now it's 100%. Send it back to the same guy. He tests it in the event, and magically it make more power. Magically, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I already know what it makes now.
Whenever you put something else in someone else's hands, you get to enjoy the benefits of it or the disadvantages of it.
Yeah, so when he left it, he was like, you can go one way or another. You can either just get out the event and I can ship it back to you.
See that?
Or, you want to get in it and continue. Damn. Fuck it, run it anyway. Yeah. Right?
What else you gonna do?
So it's already there in Virginia. Take it with you, run it in the event. So when he ran it, boom, I lost. I still made decent power, but I lost. So I'm like, well, congratulations to the winner. I'll try next time. But then I have all these dudes kept coming on. Oh, yeah, that's what you get. You're no good and all this other stuff or whatever. So now, see, why the dudes got to be so mad? I said,
ain't easy being at the top, man.
Mainly about it was so many people make these rules up. I get mad about the guys who make the rules because I already have bigger, better engines already, completely built I done had for years. And they say, you know what? I know he got this engine here. So if I post up, like the first dyno competition, I had a 291cc, billet head, all this crazy stuff or whatever. They said, okay, we're going to make the rules. What's the rules? 290cc or less, right? Damn, I got 291, so now I'm not legal, right? And then no billy heads.
It reminds me of NASCAR
so
when
each
they
year they
would
make
find the
a
rules.
new rule or whatever, and it's like, damn, I'm limited. So I now can't use this engine. I got to build a whole nother engine from scratch. So that's what I did. So this time I said, okay, what's the rules? So next year's thing, they allowing billet heads, right? So I'm like, damn, they allowing billet heads. But I don't want to have to build no whole nother engine again. Fuck it. I'll just send the same identical engine right back next year, right? If I come in second place again, fuck it, I come in second place.
Hey, I watch those posts, and I see all the back and forth. I hear this story and that story. I take a screenshot. I send it to Ed. I say,
Yeah.
fuck those competitions, all those buildups, all that stuff, because it just gets littered with all that stuff.
I like competitions, though, you know?
Yeah.
And I like any type of event where it can't be left to a judge, right? To say, well,
you got to knock them out then, Charles. You can't leave it to the judges. You got to knock them out.
No, I don't like that. They say, oh, that's the nicest looking bike. Okay, that's how you have the controversy, right?
Subjective.
Say, okay, everybody's going for the best of show at your show, right?
Yep.
Oh, I wanted to get the best of show. They have this thing polished, this chrome. They have this with flakes up in the paint. They have it, what they call that, pinstriping and all that stuff. Oh, they went all out on this guy on this bike. I see them.
Get the little carpet next to it, the
and
little
there's
hula hoop
another
girl.
one there, and they have special stands
Yeah.
and all this stuff, but only can be one, right? So when you pick this one here instead of that one, they be like, damn, why did they pick this? Man, my bike is way better than. See, because it goes by the judge.
More classes.
Right?
You just
but
make
when
more
you go
classes.
to the dyno challenge,
No, just one.
and you boom, that's it, right?
Yeah, it's
you
very
made the
defined.
horsepower is this much, you the winner.
Yeah.
It don't make a difference how pretty this bike is.
Yeah,
right?
what you're talking about is subjective judging,
Yeah.
which sometimes gets influenced by, in the case of our situation, we leave it, ultimately, the People's Choice Award
Yeah.
is with the applause.
Yeah.
Because some of the people that are there supporting the friends who have a bike there are there to support them and clap, but most of the people that are there, they don't know you.
I
you
see
know,
a bike sometimes, man. When I look at it, I'll be like, God damn, it had to take this dude years to build this bike.
I'm very
right?
impressed.
So when I see something like that, I don't know if he bought it that way or if he did it himself.
Sure.
But I can just look at the detail and be like amazed. So I'll be like, this one gets my vote. I don't care what y'all say, right? But the other guy might have actually put in the hard work.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So when I did
You
the
know?
event originally, we had a very small handful of awards, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Now, you know the deal. We're there for 2 hours giving shit away.
Yeah. Yeah, for a long time.
Because what I found out is that it's very tough to do the best of, or the best vintage, or the best chopper, without making a lot of other people upset. You make one guy happy or one gal happy, and then the rest of them feel like, well, you know, those guys, they're friends of Jake Moe, or that's Evil Ed's brother.
I actually voted for that. I would say I actually voted for Alfredo's bike,
Nice.
the one Jake Moe built. I was like, this thing is amazing.
How about Jake Moe, for
Yeah.
example? 2 things.
Yeah, he building me a bike now. You know,
And I think Ian's working with them, and I'm fortunate enough where I got 2 or 3 of them, and a couple others that he's finished or built. He hasn't won once.
yeah, yeah. That's just how it is. I don't know how.
And guess what? Jake ain't crying about it. And
Yeah.
like I look at bikes, I look at photos. My daughter Nikole did a really good job taking photos this year. I mentioned that before, and I really mean it. The photos were really great and crisp, and I got to really look at them. There were a lot of nice bikes.
That's why I told.
Dude, there was a
Fredo,
lot of nice
right?
bikes I didn't even get a chance to see. I just got to see them in the photos afterwards, and I feel like I'm missing a lot. And I feel like I'm not doing those people the justice, because, to your point, these guys would be spending hours and thousands on it.
Yeah,
So
I had my bike for, like I say, 8 years, right? I just pulled it out the garage and put my engine on there,
Bam.
right?
Yeah.
But I magically won best drag. The only reason, that's what I was telling Fredo. Fredo bikes looks much better. It's newer.
it's not
everything
finished
is
though.
clean.
It's not done.
Yeah, but he couldn't start it up.
Yeah.
So they was all crowded around his bike. When I started my bike up,
They all came to
they
you.
was like, God damn, what is that? So it was rumbling the whole damn, park.
Yeah.
So when they came over there and was like, do you hear this engine? Damn. So then, boom, I win the best drag bike. You know what I'm saying?
Ed, you got any shout outs?
No, you said them all on your paper right there.
Yeah, well, there's actually another.
Well,
Do you mind?
which one we
Just
going?
do the page.
Jermaine Rollins, Mark Charles, Papa Smurf?
Yeah, we haven't seen him in a while. Get in that mic, Eddie.
Papa Smurf here.
Oh, did I? Did I do the poopa? Get on the mic, Ed. There you go.
Brad DeMoisey, Brian Rowland, Rick Watson, Tomb, thanks for the decals.
Oh, yeah, Rick Watson sent us the Tomb. I gave you one and Charles one.
Yeah.
The Tomb decals. Oh, Charles, you also have to sign the board before you leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
Cody Samuels, Joe Petralia, Valentino Peterson, Oswaldo Soto, Gary Price, Vinny's Minis, Lucas Sarchat,
Yeah, that was a tough
Nikole
one.
and Dave, Rich Robertello.
Yeah, very good, Ed. Getting all the Italians in now. The Pacellias, the Robatellos. Dean Barrett, I want to give him a shout out.
Dale Gardner, Wally Cox. Wasn't there a comedian named Wally
That's
Cox?
why he said Walter, but I put Wally, figuring we'd have a little fun doing that.
J.C. Townsend, Hunter Skiff, Jeff and Holland Ramsey, Chris Gardner, Ratch Goner, Mikey, Peter, IG, Tom G, Mark Bellew.
Wow, Ed.
Yeah, I don't know that last name.
Yeah, man.
Bellew.
That's good enough, huh? Is that it?
I think that's it.
It's all-
Minibike Paul.
All Minibike Paul. Incidentally, Minibike Paul, we'd like to hear from you. See about doing that 1.5
I seen
percenters
him.
roundtable.
He was at the shop
Yeah.
about a month or something ago.
Oh, good.
Yeah, about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Charles, a couple things. Early on, in fact, it was the dude that I haven't heard much from now. It's kind of ironic. There's this crazy bastard who suggested to me, he's got a website that's on it's some kind of mini bike site. I forget the guy's name. He's like one of those crazy people. What the fuck's his name? I'll find it out. Early on, when I started to do the mini bike show, he got very defensive and very protective, like many folks did. Who are you? Why are you doing this? Where'd you come from? I don't know you, and you'll never last, and blah, 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 blah. And the one thing this guy told me was that, you know what you ought to do? Is you ought to meet Charles Mosley. Charles, really big in the sport, blah, 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 and he'd be really good for you to meet him and let him know about your event. And I did, because of him. And that's how you and I met.
Yeah.
And I think I may be losing my train of thought here at the point I was trying to make, but I've known you for a long time. And when I invited you the first time out, I think I gave you an appreciation plaque.
I think so.
Yes. And I know you've won a variety of plaques and awards over the years. I think there's 2 or 3 of them.
It was a People's Choice or something.
Yeah,
like that,
and you've won competitions. So
Yeah.
you've probably got about 4 or 5 pieces of hardware, whether it's trophies or plaques or whatever. And a big thanks, because you were, like Ed and many others, beacons for us as we started the podcast, but more importantly, the show. But you never were inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You forgot. You totally forgot.
I all this time said, you know what? I haven't officially.
Yeah, because I think Home Alone might have been after me or something like that, but I was like the second or third person. I think Evil Ed was before me.
Rightfully so, because
Right.
they're just like
Now, I
Jake
was either
Lowe
the
had never
second
won an
person or the
award.
third.
I thought I had recognized you in so many other ways. I hadn't realized yet, because now I remember we wrote the script for the Hall of Fame. Stuff for you. Yeah. Well, then good.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame.
So
that might have been the second or third Joe's or
Good.
something or whatever. Can't remember.
For the life of me, I thought that we gave you a few awards, but never officially
Yeah,
recognized
it was
you
a
as the
little
Hall
bit
of
of
Fame.
different stuff. I got the dyno competition, best drag bike, People's Choice. I don't know if it said fan favorite or. And
well,
the
you've
Hall
earned
of
them all.
Fame one, it was a bunch of them.
Good.
You know?
You've earned them all. I look forward to seeing you again. Any opportunities yet to take a look at the calendar in May to see what looks good?
Thursday, May 9th.
Thursday, May 9th. Am I here Thursday, May 9th? Thursday, May 9th. I am here. Yes.
And
I go to Atlanta on May the 10th.
Wednesday, the 22nd.
And Wednesday, May 22nd. So on either one of those podcasts, we're going to have Jeff on from the Minibike Reunion in Winburn. And there's still going to be time for you to not only hear about the success of that event and why it's something you should check out, but we'll also get get an opportunity to speak to Jeff to find out. And I'd be very curious because, like I said, I kind of feel like I ran in his footsteps. I'd like to see what really sparked him in terms of deciding to do an event and how he's still doing it after 20 years. Because honestly, I'm looking at 10 years and going, okay, I kind of helped out. I kind of got this event going. Somebody either take it over or buy it or do something with it. But, I guess before you get to 20, you got to get to 10. So we're working towards 10. He's already on 20. He'll be on 21 next year. So I want to find out what makes that guy tick, as well as having on Tate Morgan. Tate Morgan from the Gambler 500 up in Portland, an awesome event from what I've seen. You can go check out both of their websites or Facebook pages. Again, it's the Winbeer Minibike Reunion, and it's called Minibike Reunion on Facebook, as well as the Gambler 500. Great photos from the Gambler 500. You guys ought to check those out. We may have missed a few of you folks. Once again, congratulations to Taylor from Go Power Sports for winning the mini-bike build-up that Joe Petralia as well as Justin Betts. Speaking of Justin Betts, we have gone ahead and come up with a Justin's Bet dunk tank at the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know how the dunk tank works. There's usually like a seat and then a water tank and then a round target, which is maybe the size of a softball.
Who's going to be sitting in the seat?
Well, Justin will be.
Okay.
Justin will be sitting in the seat, and we've got about 22 bowling balls lined up that you'll be able to actually see if you can hit that target.
Okay.
I'll just inside Justin. Thank you for and he even mentioned that. A lot of people think that you and him have this bad relationship. I know you guys go back and forth, and some of it's a little bit dicey, and some of it's just having fun. Ultimately, he's a really cool guy. He built some really nice bikes. He's just a part of the big family we have. We're not all the same. We don't all have the same talents, the same skills, the same communication skills or lack of. Mm-hmm. But I think everybody really, look, if they're coming to the show, if anybody talks shit online, you get to do that as long as you come to the show. That's my view. Because really, when it's all about it's about getting a mini bike and having some fun with it. I want to thank a few other folks, Oswaldo Soto, Gary Price, Vinny's Minis. We talked about him. Looks like I'm reading some of the guys you already mentioned, Ed. Ed, what are you up to this week?
I don't know. Maybe try and primer the Bears bike.
Yeah, we need to get down there, E. I'm here this weekend. So I don't know what anybody else's schedule is like. We need to get that going. Charles, how about you? What are you up to?
Oh, it's my birthday weekend, so.
Got a big weekend planned?
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Oh, tomorrow's Thursday.
You starting to get ready tomorrow?
Yeah.
Now, you're not a drinker or smoker. Many people may think you are, yeah.
But I'm going to be doing a lot this weekend. Some of the stuff, I can't really talk about that.
Yeah, I know it. He's a big eater, and he's got a big appetite. We'll just leave it at that. You better buckle in, Samantha.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been fun. It's been a blast. Have any questions or comments? Where can folks get a hold of you, Charles?
Oh, most of the people just, find me on Facebook, MDB or Minidragbike or Charles Mosley.
Yep.
You can find me on there and send me an inbox. Normally that's typically, I get like 20 or 30 a day. So it's pretty busy every day.
Hey, congratulations to Brian Ekstrom. You've won the Brake Clean autographed can by Evil Ed and Charles Mini Drag Bike, as well as the autographed Joe's Minibike Reunion cap. Congratulations again, Brian Ekstrom. Listen in, folks, on May the 9th, where we'll hopefully have Jeff from the Minibike Reunion, as well as our friends from the Gambler 500. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our sponsors, Pioneer, Go Power Sports, Studs Performance, as well as our friends from Go Kart USA.
Minibike Show.